light the fires.
And since I don't even know when the music is going to end, I decided to go ahead and just end it now.
End it now.
Guys, I can't hear the music on my end, so I'm sorry about that. We got cut off a little bit early, but we're back and everything's going all copacetic. Welcome to the episode of More Than Dice, episode 145. Kathy is making her way back. John never left me like a good man should. There's Miss Kathy. Today is going to be just a chill, relaxed day. We've had, some of us have had a pretty rough week, and so we're going to do some painting. I'm going to show off a couple of models. I may try to work on a model while I'm waiting for something to paint. So go grab your hobby stuff, go grab your paints, go grab your miniatures, go grab whatever you're working on, and come and join us for a relaxing day of bullshit. Before we do that, let's go ahead and get our sponsors out of the way. We want to thank Muse on Minis for providing us a place to host everything and get our word out to everybody. By the way, if you want to find all of our previous episodes, we're on every platform out there. You name it, we're out there. We are a creature creator. And Moses already cut himself. Which I'll be showing off a couple of two new creature caster models that are part of the Judgment line now. We want to thank Tectonic Craft Studios, Dan the Man. Talked to him not too long ago, and everything's doing copacetic. And we want to thank Metalhead Minis for hosting all of our stuff that we sell. Guys, you'll see a link pop up in the chat, either previously or now. You can order a few things from us, or a few things from More Than Dice, from Warfare Weekend, and just help out Lynn. Also for Metalhead Minis, and order some stuff that she has. Also, we do have a Patreon, and our Patreon where you can get some stuff for free. Also, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you do get a magnetic logo that we have after you subscribe for a certain amount of time. So you can find that. It's also a better way to support us. We get better kickbacks, I guess the way to say it on that. So let's go tradition. John, what you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm going to finish off this cherry Coke, but for the toast, of course, I have some of this Jim Beam apple.
How is
But
that?
I'm not sure when I started, but I'm pretty far through it. I know when I've last blood alcohol, so that might be an issue.
Is it pretty good, though?
Oh, yeah, it's very drinkable.
Good. Kathy, what you got tonight?
Rum and Coke.
A rum and Coke.
Just rum and Coke.
For people that haven't been following, I am sick, so we thought that I might have had COVID, so I don't. My test came back negative, but to be safe, I am drinking water and going with that. So this will be my drink for the night. Guys, please take care of yourself. Just had found out a friend of mine has tested positive for COVID, so I'm rooting for him to get healthy and safe. 3 of my coworkers have it, and I'm hoping they stay healthy also. Wear your mask, guys. Keep the social distancing. Don't hang out with people. I mean, keep your circle tight. I'm dead serious about that. Keep it tight. Look after each other. John, do we have any other shout-outs we need to give this week?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of either. Guys, please look after each other. Please, please, please. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
I'm just going to pretend that this is Lagavulin.
Let
You
me switch
tease.
over. Oh, I didn't even check if the Gonzo paint. Yep. See, I knew that was going to be messed up too. Look at that. I didn't even check that out. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
don't
all.
know. I don't know what happened to your OBS, but
It decided to
well,
shit
Twitch
itself.
has been and OBS have been weird for people all week. It seems like.
Yeah, I didn't even update it either, so I don't know what the heck's going on with it. So let's do a quick fix because even my camera's not even working. So let me do.
Mo is assembling Kingdom Death stuff.
Oh, what models? Is it the penis dress?
Oh what?
Have you not heard about that?
I have no idea what's your.
The penis dress.
You know what? Ignorance is bliss. Forget I said anything. Proceed.
Let me put this down in the corner. Let me get that one. That one's mine. And that camera's not doing very
Farm's
good.
drinking some high quality H2O. Is it artisanal? Is it artisanal H2O, Parm?
Occasionally. Well,
There we go.
I
Transform.
actually have some of that. That's that distilled
Flip it.
water, right?
Ham is sniffing
Flip it.
glue while building models, which I mean, hard not to.
Yeah, you can't do one without the other.
Okay, making sure everything's still coming through.
Mo says Echoes 1 and 2 and the 10th anniversary survivors. That's what he's working on.
Oh, their cameras are so messed up. I don't know why this is so messed
Water from the pure banks of the mighty Ohio River.
Okay.
It's a magical thing.
Oh my.
up. Thank you for following as we reset everything up. Okay, let me take off.
Hey, Iron Raven Painting. How are you?
You know, it's a crazy day when I'm painting too, right?
It is.
Yes.
It's funny. You're painting and I'm not. I'm just I'm keeping up with the chat.
Okay.
I'm keeping up with the chat, and
Well, I
John and
can, 'cause
Gonzo are painting, and
I can look up this end and see the chat without this in the way. So
yeah, all
on
is
this
right
side,
with
I
the
can look
flow.
down at my palette.
So what are you working on today, John?
I'm working on some terrain. I've got that like stacked crates and stuff I've been working on. That's nominally for infinity, but it'll work for anything pretty much 30 millimeter scale where you need some scatter terrain, 40K Legion, whatever. So I'm painting that stuff up right now.
All right, I gotta fix
In
that.
between working on my rebel troopers, but I figured this is easy work, so I don't have to concentrate on details or anything while I'm trying to give solid commentary and chit chat.
So
Oh.
that's a Raging Heroes model.
Wait, Angry Ham. Wait, hold on. Are you disparaging the cherry coke?
He's disparaging Cherry Coke.
I did
Oh,
pick up the two judgment models that were talked about last week. This is the Berserker, Onslaught of Berserker.
Mo,
Yeah.
there's a link to the Patreon where that thing's available.
Really cool model. I decided not to put, like, he has this skull cape, and you're supposed to, like, put it around, and it's supposed to go on his shoulders underneath all these spikes, and I was like, nah. So I'll use that for something else. But he looks pretty cool. He's ready to kick some ass. And then I did get the Siren. Here is the comparison of the old school models to the new school models. So not much difference. I mean, he is standing pretty tall, but this is one
But
of the...
is he generally a larger scale model anyways
No,
than
this
the
is...
average human?
Well, we don't know yet, but this model is the new size of the Judgment model, so it's not much different. But this is one of their average size models. But you also know that this guy's got a huge base. I mean, check out the thickness of the base, and then all the skulls, and then the average Judgment base is just like a small disc. So
Yeah, Mo, it's STL. That and these pumpkin riders that I've been working on in my stream are also from that same Patreon. They're from that same Halloween set.
Carnival.
And Gonzo printed those out for me.
I did get the Siren, so I will probably put her together this week. And see how she goes. She's got a lot of fiddly small bits, and I was like, this week I'm not dealing with that.
Some days just not about the fiddly small bits, huh?
No, nope, nope, nope. So, and
But
this is the one I was going to work on tonight. Let me pull this up just a little.
yes, Angry. I would say she is very hot.
It's hot, hot, hot. So Kathy was going to help me figure out all the cool ways that she paints.
I
And
see what you
so,
did there. That was another temperature problem. Good job.
So, yeah, this is how far Gonzo got last week when he was doing the half-as zenithal. Just the same way that I've been talking about how I start my models usually, with that darker primer first, and then sort of a medium value gray, and then a lighter dry brush over the top. And this is what he ended up with last week. So I suppose, are we at the adding color stage now,
yeah,
Gonzo?
I was thinking we would try do her skin. And I have a color that I think I want to go with. I gotta shake it up, but it's called. We're gonna use Pro Acryl's flesh, tan flesh. So it's not like pure white, and it's not like super pink. It's supposed to have like a little bit of brown, bronzing in it. And I thought that would go really good with whenever she would get the flames and such going on here. So I'm gonna get that ready. What do you think, Kathy? I don't want her to be pale white, and I don't want her to be like a dark tan. I want her, like a medium skin tone.
I think the scale on that is about 32, 35 millimeters, something like that.
On
You
which
don't
one?
want her to be pasty Irish skin? Is that
No.
what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't want pasty Irish skin.
So you want somewhere between pasty Irish skin and swarthy?
Yep.
So just like Kathy in summer, basically.
Kathy in summer. She's a little healthy looking skin, but she's not gonna, when she shows flesh, she's not gonna call Gondor.
Oh, I'm glad my painting details because that got me.
Ham says, luckily I got enough to paint, else I'd be tempted to order her. That mini tickles my fancy for sure.
Order
I mean,
who?
This chick, the one he's painting right now.
You can't
I
order
mean,
her.
that's an STL file. Although they
Yeah.
do have some of these that they're offering as, models to order off their website. In addition to the STL files. Yeah, like Ham says, you can also order it. But do you ever have enough to paint? Right, Captain Mizzy? It's not an issue of whether you have enough to paint or not. It's, do you like this model? Is it shiny? Then it must be yours. And it doesn't matter how many other models you have. That's how this works.
Yes.
Kind of mattered a little bit, but yeah, you're right.
You
I
like
have
to
a lot
tell
of models.
yourself that. Yes, Gobble Brain gonna gobbo. Yes, the goblin brain must have the pretty shiny. The halfling brain also must have the pretty shiny.
All right,
Also,
Kathy. I
the
have
crow brain.
Well, I'm an orc. What do I need?
green
I'm a
and
crow,
red.
and I need the shiny.
Green and red. All right, so I have the color that we want to use right here on my wet palette. Now, the problem I've been having is even though I do this type of technique, it doesn't seem to do anything at all because my paint's still too thick.
And by thick, do you mean your paint is very opaque?
Well,
Yes, that's what he means.
Because there's a difference between thick paint and opaque.
yeah,
It's true.
it all, no matter what, like, okay, so say I'm going to start here on the leg and I'm going to go with the paint here. The shading between the white and the black would be the same completely. There wouldn't be any change in it at all, no matter what I did. So should I thin this down a bunch?
Well, why don't you start out by thinning it down a bunch and then just see where you are. Thin it down a bunch, and then if that's too thin, you can always, I mean, so don't thin down the entirety of it, just
Yeah.
thin down a little bit of it and then see where you are.
I
And then
would
you
say you could
can,
always do another coat.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, and for me always it's just kind of an experiment too. The thing I like about my Reaper Clear paints is that they are more translucent. So when you add a little bit of water to them, well, that just increases that translucence. And you can also remember, you can, before it dries, you can rinse your brush off. You can blot the excess water and just take just the damp bristles, and you can work your paint on the model with just the bristles of the brush to make it a little thinner and move it around on the model, which is a very fun and effective way of thinning down your paint sometimes if you need to. Also, it's a good way to remove paint that got someplace you didn't want it,
Just lick it
as
off.
long as you get to it before it dries.
So just lick it
Thank you.
off.
And I'm doing the exact thing right now. I'm just grabbing some stuff that ended up pooling a little more than I wanted and spreading it
But
around and grabbing some of it off and moving it elsewhere.
yeah, so that's why I'm always talking about the specific paints that I use with the half-as zenithal process, because you do want something that's more translucent, and that's kind of why my Games Workshop and Privateer Press paints are sort of, well, not being used. They're dusty. They sit out of reach and they're dusty because they're too opaque for how I want to paint.
Which is actually a good note, everyone, is that you should figure out how you want to paint and start getting the paints that are more appropriate to your style. But it
Yeah.
takes a while to figure that out.
Now, Moe's Magic says, and I say the same thing. He does the half-as zenithal just so he can see things, just so you can tell what the details are.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes that's important as well, you know.
And you know,
And
good.
and just knowing what the things are and knowing what the values are ahead of time, even if you cover it up with something opaque, at least you know what's there.
Mhm. You don't have to go full zenithal if you just want to see details. You can literally just dry brush your black prime model gray, and suddenly you know, okay, that's where all the edges are. Because sometimes you
This
can't
really
see them.
was a ladle.
Yeah, God, sometimes my eyes are terrible nowadays.
Yeah, it's yeah, there's some minis where you're like, what is this? What even is this supposed to be? And you can't tell, and all of a sudden you dry brush it and it becomes apparent. All of a sudden some things that were really hard to figure out, it just becomes obvious all of a sudden. It's, I don't know why, but
I had a part on the guy. I'm like, is this hair like hanging down in the front, or is this like a targeting thing? I can't fucking tell when it's black. You know, one of those targeting things that goes over an eye. I couldn't tell.
see, this looks like your lightest color, Gonzo. Is
Hmm.
this the lightest color that you intend on this model, or do you intend to do a lighter highlight anywhere on the skin?
Well, I mean that's I was about to ask you because it doesn't look like it all looks the same color. That there's not a you
You're
know.
going over the whole thing too. You're going over the entire leg with this color, and you're going over the entire leg multiple times with this color, which means that it's going to be, every time you pass over it with the brush, it's going to be more opaque. And you're building up that opacity. So you could have, if this was going to be your highlight, you could have had the most opaque parts be where you want your highlights to be, and you could have left like the underside of the leg. You could have not even painted this color if you're going to use another sort of flesh tone color as a shadow.
I'll say I'm probably gonna have to do some other darker color because this is all just. I mean, it all looks the same, and even though I did
Hmm.
the dry brush, it doesn't look like it's highlighting the colors highlighted any.
I think that's the well, that's the thing that yeah, that's the thing that people struggle with paints that are inherently very opaque. So, is that your cherry Coke, John?
Yes, it is.
In your face, angry ham. I that's what I read there. In your face. That's my cherry Coke.
That's how far I've been along on these. Just paint different, all the different types of box or whatever, different colors to start. So they're all apparent. I'm gonna try not and do another freaking Daily Bugle job on this thing.
Oh, right.
Wow, John, I thought that was done. You just kept going.
And going and going.
Ham says I'm glad someone else than me drinks the cherry Coke.
Well, good. I do. I love cherry Coke. Do not get cherry vanilla Coke. Do not.
That's yeah, that kind of cancels out.
Well, it's not as cherry, and then the vanilla is really faint, and just ends up tasting like off Coke.
Yeah.
And you're like, hmm.
I was really disappointed with that in rum.
Yeah, it was even with I'm like, oh, the Kraken's got vanilla notes in it. It'll be fine. Nope. I'm better off with cherry Coke or vanilla Coke. But for some reason, that was the only thing they had in bottles at the store. So this is courtesy of the local Domino's, who apparently does not run out of cherry Coke, which is good. Unlike the local pizza, which ran out of freaking Pepsi one day. I'm like, you ran out of Pepsi?
I don't
Yeah,
know
we're out
how
of
that happened.
Pepsi. We're out of Sprite, out of 7-Up. Can we just bring you 2 oranges and 2 Mountain Dews? I'm like, yeah, that'll be okay. But you out of Pepsi? Let me just say, the fuck?
Ham has assembled so far about 40 models this week.
That's good stuff.
And soon he will begin building the bases for them.
The basing. That's always lots of fun as long as you keep yourself in perspective. You let yourself get daunted by it, it gets problematic. But don't let yourself get daunted. There's a guy on one of the unrelated discords I'm on who's like, I'm about to get all these BattleTech models. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm never going to paint them all. I'm like, just start painting. So if I don't ever paint them all, I'm like, don't worry about that. Just start painting.
Yeah.
How far should I go? Should I put this detail on? I'm like, stop when you're happy. Well, then I'll never get them all done, but you'll be happy.
And you'll have some of them done instead of
Yeah,
none.
yeah. Like you can't just wait for the perfect. He's
Some
like,
is
should I put
better
this?
than none.
Yeah. It's like, should I spend all this time put this symbol on them? Does it make you happy? Do it. If not, don't.
Mo is sad their Pizza Hut is closing. I don't even know where there's a Pizza Hut in Chicago.
Well, there better not be. Shouldn't you have a better pizza than Pizza Hut?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yes.
Even the one that I don't like that's down the street from us, that used to be my favorite one before the old guy sold up, is better than Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say that Domino's is probably better than Pizza Hut nowadays. At least when you talk about standard hand tossed.
I miss old man DiNardo. I miss him so
Yeah, I
much.
got them. I get happy when the older folks sell their business because I mean they're retired. I understand it, but
Yeah.
there was a guy who ran a ice cream shop right down the street from where I lived for forever, and then he closed it down and it became a dentist's office. It was always a dentist's office blew up, but they took over the whole thing. I'm like, oh, sad.
Sad face.
Oh man, Angry Ham, that sounds fantastic.
Okay, yeah,
Baking his own pizza, having beer in the dough.
that will be better than Pizza Hut.
I
I
like to get the I haven't ever made pizza crust, from scratch, but I will get the crust at the grocery store and then put my own toppings and sauce and stuff on it, and that's very yummy. Giordano's is good, says Hinton. Yeah, Giordano's is good. That's all I have to say about it. Their pepperoni. It is less than satisfactory to me.
Oh,
Lou's Lou Malnati's. I mean, if that's the same Lou you're talking about, but in Chicago, Lou Malnati's, they're good too.
like honestly, when we're here, where Bane and I are, if we get delivery pizza, it's all kind of, it's just fine. We have to go pick it up if we want the really good pizza. Because there's a place down where I used to live, which is probably good half an hour round trip, just about, that has really good pizza. Uh, that comes out and the pepperoni is crisp but not burnt. That's
Oh, I
like,
love it when the pepperoni is crisp, just like around the edges.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
but not burnt. Too often you get it from like a Domino's or something, and it's either soft or it's burnt.
Oh, definitely Hinton, definitely. You get the Lou Malnati's the next time you're in Chicago.
Yes,
And back to you, food.
yeah, shocking,
Well,
Captain.
food never
Talk
really
about
leaves us.
No. I was just thinking, I was like, we can never shut up about food.
It's true. It's kind of a commonality across the board.
we do all have to eat, so it is
Uh-huh.
to find common ground. That's why breaking bread is sort of the phrase
Food
it
and
is.
nerd stuff. Food and nerd stuff.
I mean, and
Hams is just letting the crushed tomatoes slowly simmer with some black pepper, olive oil, chili sauce, just before you take it off the stove, and the herbs and a touch of honey. Oh, that sounds good.
that does sound good.
Why are you not here making pizza for me?
And now I'm gonna have to set up for the last of that thin crust pizza I bought today. When after we get done, that's not gonna be nearly as good as what that sounds like.
Pizza cracker just sounds awful, Banyan. That just sounds like somebody took a couple of Triscuits and threw some cheese and tomato on them.
That actually sounds good if you toast them. I love
I
Triscuit.
mean, it kind of does, but I wouldn't call it a pizza.
No, I
Hey,
would not
Aussie
call.
Outlaw. There's
I
a
wouldn't call it a pizza.
Giordano's opening by you. Oh my God, that's awesome. Hopefully, it's as good as they are here. What was that, John?
Train of thought. I don't remember. Sorry.
Pizza cracker?
Pizza cracker. I would call it pizza cracker. Uh, Cracker Barrel's actually okay, having knowing two people who work there, so they're doing well they can, at least locally, to keep people safe and keep people being stupid. It's the point where I hear stories of people going, "But I want that table over there." Well, you can't sit at that table in there because social distancing.
Uh-huh.
But I want that table. Well, you can't have that table. Hashtag shut up and suck it. My niece does not actually say that to people, which I tell her is good customer service to not say that. Remember, you can think whatever you want, just don't say it.
All right, so I believe that she does not have anything covering her boobs but these little leather straps. So
Well,
we're good.
yeah, paint it that way now, and if you notice that there's something there later, you can always paint over it.
Yeah. I'm going to say she has nothing. And it's just a little S&M outfit.
That's fine.
Yeah, no problem.
Wait, Avengers company is making models with an S&M outfit? That's rare. How does that happen?
No.
No one would do that.
Nobody
Not gonna start an internet rampage, is it?
got a stray hair that's...
Moe's Magic says I was a cook at Cracker Barrel in my youthful days. That was like 2 months ago, right, Mo?
Oh,
Damn.
damn.
Your youthful days?
I did tell one of the guys on my team he was talking about being an old guy. To shut up, fetus.
it goes more like 25 years ago.
Okay, well. Oh,
So yeah, I'm trying to amass some basing supplies for this week's basing stream. So I'll need Sculpey, and I will need to. I'm gonna maybe try and bake some different Sculpey shapes. I don't know if we have. I don't know if we have Sculpey Classic, the white Sculpey, because I like that one for making uh, ruins. Because you can take and make stuff into bricks. You can really sculpt. You can carve into it really easily. That's what I like about it. As opposed to the firm Sculpey, it's much harder to carve into that.
fair enough.
Beyond that, well, then I guess I'll have to get some viney stuff together and some leaves. I haven't really used the leaf punch at all.
Oh, the green stuff. Is it the green stuff for leaf
Yeah,
punch?
yeah, we've got green stuff for leaf punches, and I haven't really done that at
It
all.
must be hard to get those thin enough to not look real. That's the problem I see with leaves on bases. Like if they're sculpted in, they just look too thick.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of leaves outside right now, and
Hey,
we like to just bring them in and use leaves.
yeah,
So, and we'll just like yesterday I picked up a leaf off of the floor and it had tiny little leaf shapes punched in it.
you just bring
I'm
it in,
like,
dry it out a
look at
little
this
bit, boom.
leaf with the leaf shapes. Ham's hoping to get pins in the middle of the week. What kind of pins are you getting? Like brass rod or uh just paper clips? What kind of stuff are you using for pins, Ham? Oh, the texture rollers.
Oh, rolling
He's
pin.
calling them rolling pins.
I'm like,
Sorry. And I'm sitting here, yeah, thinking pins like pinning your models together kind of pins, or pinning your models to the bases, that kind of stuff. So, Angry Ham's texture rollers that he's getting are the Elven, the Dwarven, the Celtic, and the Dark Runes. Those are all good choices. Those will be very fun. Asterisk Tawan.
Luke Tuan method:
Oh, the
get some
Luke
leaves,
Tawan.
put them in a blender. The very small leaves. I mean, fair.
I mean, you could.
You
Or you
could.
could have leaves that are shaped like leaves, like maple leaves or oak leaves.
Or
And
pot
then if you
leaves.
really wanted to, if you wanted green leaves, you could take all those leaves,
And
put them in a container with some watered down green paint, shake it around, get that paint all on those leaves, then spread them out so they can dry.
are you telling me to shake it all about?
Yes, do the hokey
What
pokey.
it's all about. Oh, it's funny. One of these pieces doesn't have the. Wow, I did a terrible job there. Doesn't have the same boxes. There's a box that only exists on this one longer piece. A box type, let's say.
Legionnaires, you just found that out?
What do you just
That
find out?
40K Space Marines moved to 32 millimeter bases.
Yeah, that was a big hubbub about that when it happened
Yeah,
a couple years ago. Two
you're
years
gonna
ago?
need a lot more bases. Yeah, that's how. Excuse me. That's how I feel about my ogre kingdoms. They're all on square bases, and I know they always say you can play them with the square bases. They don't have to be round, But eh,
No, they must be round. That's us talking, not them. They
yeah.
can say they don't do round all they want. We're gonna be like, no, it's put on round. They must be round.
Nosferatu says, just don't get any Sculpey from that James guy. I hear he likes Zinch. The Sculpey may be tainted. Well, yeah, that's true.
James likes the Tiznatch.
He does. He does. He's a creature of constant change.
Well, that's like his spirit animal then?
Yes.
Someone at work called me their spirit animal. I was like,
Oh.
thank you? I think that's a thank you. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll go with thank you.
So I feel like I could save this for the media section, but I've been watching Kippo and the Age of Wonder Beast,
And
and I love it. I love it. And uh, do you think you could guess what my favorite creature is from that so far? I'm not done with the first season yet, but I must be like 8 episodes in.
is it the
9?
pig?
Huh?
Is it the pig?
No, it's not the pig.
Is it the bees?
No, no, but I do love the bees. The bees made me laugh my ass off.
Yeah, the
The
bees.
bees are awesome. It's the community of tardigrades.
The what?
Do they fold space and time? Moving through the
The, the,
mycelial network?
the community of water bears.
Oh.
That was just, I'm like, this is my favorite character so far. This thing is awesome. These guys, this community of, I mean, oh God, it cracked me up. The whole thing. It's like this Buddhist community of, I like tardigrades to begin with, you know? The
Yeah,
fact
I
that there are
totally forgot what they were
tardigrades,
called. I'm just used to it being called the bears, the water bears.
water bears. Yeah, the, the fact that they are actually featured as a character in this show. It's called Kippo and the Age of Wonder Beasts.
It's an amazing cartoon. I'm gonna tell you right
It's
now.
on Netflix.
Yeah, it's amazingly the artwork. I love the art style. The art style is really neat. The uh, the story is pretty interesting, and it goes off the deep end. It's like, what the fuck? And you're like, the frogs, the talking frogs that
Oh
wear
God, the
business
frogs are.
suits with mustaches. Yeah,
So there's a link to the wiki on it. Like I couldn't wait until our media section to mention that because I don't know what made me think of it. The water bears. They're just
there is so much good with that. It has good
so
representation of
many
people.
amazing things happen in this show, and I mean it's a cartoon, and but it's so good. We've been liking it.
So Captain Mizzy, has finished watching the entire season. She watched it after me, and so I'm sitting there, and she was like, we discussed it a little bit on back and forth on text, and we thought about the season ending and everything,
The
and
whole series.
yeah, the series, because we were caught up, and like 2 days later, she's like, wait a minute, what the fuck, what happened to? And I'm like, yeah, you're just catching that now, huh?
It's super cute.
So no spoilers, but it is definitely
It's cute. It's fun. It's intelligent. It's funny.
Dave. Dave is amazing.
All the things.
Dave is a insect that goes from pupa to old age constantly during the episode,
He just yeah, he's always metamorphosing.
and it's hilarious. And
But yeah,
then
there hasn't been an episode yet that I've been disappointed in.
no, it's a good solid cartoon. And it's good that it got an ending too, because I mean I hate whenever shows come on and you're like, oh, this is really good, this is awesome, and then it disappears and you're like, shit. Like for example, that show I saw on Netflix, the Away, which was about the astronauts going to Mars, that got canceled.
That the one with Katie Sackhoff in it?
With who? Sorry.
Katie Sackhoff from BSG.
No, that was the one Hillary Swank.
Okay. I don't know how I got those two confused.
That was I can't remember the name of the one that she was in that you're talking
Okay.
about. But yes, that one is renewed for at least one more season. They said.
Katie Sackhoff was in Longmire.
Yeah.
I
Jolt.
don't know what else she's been in lately, though. I don't.
She hasn't had a lot. There's a lot of people who don't get a lot of, you know, roles after, if you will, their breakout role. You're like, what's going on? Why have you not? I mean, they
They
were
get
good in this. Are you not giving them a chance? What's going on?
they get typecast.
I don't know if that's it.
It's just weird. And often early on, they make a big deal about it. They'll like use that as like,
I mean, her
oh,
character on Longmire was definitely different than her character on BSG.
Yeah.
if you find me a character in another show that's like her character in BSG, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is this series? Because that's weird. Got a lot of stuff I can talk about in our media section, so lots of crazy stuff.
So, are you planning to, Gonzo, are you planning to do some base coats all over the model, or just paint the skin first and then
I wanted to get the
start on
skin in
the next
because
couple?
I know there's a decent amount of skin here, and I wanted to get that done so I could see, and also get the paint the way I like it. Ask questions about it because, like I said, everything's here, but all the highlighting I did is gone.
Yeah.
Is your paint too thick?
No.
It's just it's an opaque paint.
Yeah. No, it's pretty damn thin. It's just like as he says, it's very no. So what we have to do is some highlighting and
So
so
you're
on and
using
so forth.
water to thin it down?
Yeah, it's thin. It's just not thin enough. It's just
So
not very
let me see if
opaque.
we get this right. Kathy will probably correct me if I'm wrong. Can't you use like a acrylic medium sort of thing to make it less opaque and not just water it down to infinity?
I mean, it would be kind of the same result. It's just that there's anytime you have a paint that has a lot of white pigment in it, like this does, it's going to be really opaque. And by the time you water it down enough for it to not be opaque, then you really just, there's hardly any pigment left.
Fair enough. I mean, I just saying that because when I was painting one of my models, the guy who was giving me tips on part of it had me use a lot of mixing medium from P3 to get the white so that it would make the thing look faded and worn rather than just white.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked pretty well.
Well, it's possible. I mean, if you were in front of me, then we could look at what kind of paints you had and and experiment with what their properties are. The darker paints you get here, the less white pigment is in them, then the less opaque they're going to get generally.
Well, I figured once I get a good solid base color, then we can go back and we can do like the highlight and shading or whatever on the skin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because the skin's almost got a good solid color all the way around it on all the parts that are flesh tone.
And that's what you wanted was a good solid.
No. But I do want to get it where it's all like even looking.
Legionnaires' rumor is Katie Sackhoff will be in Mando this season.
Yes.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy to see her in there. I'm not as excited because honestly, what's her name who played the cavalry from Age of Shield was in there for about 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's cool to see him, but you can want to see him doing bigger roles, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. Mo says, I like painting skin. Giggity. Ha ha ha. I love painting skin. I paint so much skin that I don't get enough practice with non-metallic metal because I don't paint enough armor, which which is funny. What I need is more models that have more armor.
All right, I'll
So
send
I
you one.
need like less barbarians and more fighters.
I will send you one, Kathy, because I have one that I think would be really good for that.
Now I suppose I could take some of these spare you know, space marines that I have sitting around and practice painting down metallic metal on their armor, which
That would probably be really good with curves and
probably,
stuff.
yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah,
I should do that.
like where your head's at there.
Yeah. So perhaps, one of these days I'll get to that. However, now we have basing for the pumpkin riders, and then finish the pumpkin riders, and then finish Carl Thulu, accounts receivable, and then that's the ancient one from Shadows of Brimstone. Yes, that's Mr. Carl Thulu, accounts receivable. Cthulhu's, cousin. So he needs to get done, and then after he's done, then we're gonna experiment with oil paint. Poor Carl. Carl is not languishing. I do get paint on him when I'm not streaming, so you know he's getting some attention, Parm. Don't you worry. Ham is wondering if there will be object source lighting, and yes, Ham. Gonzo is planning to do object source lighting on her.
Yeah, because I mean, this whole flaming whip and the entire flaming dress, I guess you could call it, is going to have it, and there's going to be some down here on the base and right in here. So going to be right here is going to be some object right here, and then on her buttocks, and then right around in here where there's a
Now,
really bright lights.
do you have fluorescent paints?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Okay, so the fluorescent paints will be translucent, if not transparent. So you'll be able to use that you'll be able to use that.
Yeah, that was what I was going to definitely use.
Of
Because
course,
we were talking about that using for flame, and I was like, oh, I got that fluorescent Vallejo yellow airbrush paint we can use and try that out.
now for all the parts on her that are actually flame, as opposed to the parts that are reflecting the flame, I would go back and paint those all white. As weird as that sounds, you want those parts to be all white, and then you're going to do a reverse dry
Okay, so
brushing.
wait. So go back to say what you were saying while I'm working on this because I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So all the parts that are actual flame
Uh huh.
instead of the reflected light,
Okay.
you'll want to
Just paint
paint
it all.
those white.
Okay.
Just paint them white, get white down into the deepest crevices. And then you'll take your grayer color and dry brush over. It's the reverse of how you usually paint. So your lightest color is going to be in the crevices, and your darkest color is going to be where normally your highlights would go.
Okay.
And
So pretty
that's for
much
flame.
the whips because there's actually two whips. There's one on her, one wrapped up in this big one, and then, but like here, the whole. I don't think the whole thing, and I mean we can do whatever we want, but I just wanted to do like the tips of the dress were flame, and then the dress was its original color,
Yeah.
whatever I
So all the
decided.
parts that you want to be flame, those are the parts that you'll do white, so that the white is down in the recesses. And then your darkest color is going to be where your highlights normally go, and it's exactly the opposite of how you normally paint your lights and darks. Because when you're painting flames, the hottest parts are the lightest parts, and those are the parts that are down in the center, right? Just like
Correct.
a candle, just like a campfire.
Correct.
So that's how I always have thought of it is and I've stared into many campfires. So,
I can go
and it
do that
was
right now with
always
that.
the deepest parts that were the lightest parts, and then as they got cooler, that's when they got to be darker and more yellow and orange and then red and then even black, if you're looking at the ash. Nosferatu says, I can't wait till you do oils because honestly, it's not sticking with me other than for small blends or washes. We will learn it together, Nosferatu, because I have, I've done about as much as, well, you've done more than I have, Nosferatu. All I've done is watch Jim streaming about it. So I haven't actually touched them at all. So that should be fun. And but I'll be doing busts. I have some Blackheart models busts that I'll be working on to start out with.
You also got a Gobbo bust that you have to work on too.
Yes, yes I do. That I still have to put together and clean. And that mask. But the mask
The
is such a
failed
big
vengeance.
scale. It's
Yeah.
such a much larger scale than what I'm used to. So I'll have to really think about what I want to do with that.
Yeah.
Moe's Magic says I'm having a love-hate relationship with the oils. So we'll we'll get to know oil paints together once I sometime in November is when I'll be starting that up. Once Carl is done, then we'll get the busts out and start figuring out how oils work. Because I mean, you can watch all the videos, but once you get them in your hands and you start applying it to the model, that's when you really start figuring things out. Moa says I have a lot of busts somewhere. Somewhere. I am there. They're in a drawer over here, and they're my Lovecraft busts. So I have a Cthulhu. I have an Innsmouth guy. He has the Innsmouth look. He's all fishy. And I have H.P. Lovecraft himself, and I have ideas about what I want to do with that model. Um, and I've one or two other ones that are from that Lovecraft collection because Blackheart Models has like several different Lovecraft busts. Nosferatu says I can do the stuff that the YouTuber Macro Frisoni is doing with oils, but full blown only oils like James does has been a challenge because I can't break the acrylic habits. Yeah, I have some deeply ingrained acrylic habits, and I have never ever used oil paints either. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I have that same problem that you have, Nosferatu. You've been airbrushing all day and your airbrush blending is getting pretty darn good. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. I have not touched an airbrush. I don't know. I mean, I have touched an airbrush and I did spray some stuff out of it, but
I've
that
touched
was only that was like for 5 minutes. So I don't really count that. So, yeah, airbrushing is one of those things on my list of things that I need to learn. Or do I? Do I need to learn it? I don't know. Maybe I don't. We'll see. We'll see how
How
the
about we
oils
say
go.
it feels like it'd be a good idea to learn it?
It does. It feels like something I should at least know about. Uh, but yeah, the oils could be one of those things that just I could be one of those people that just starts using it and then never wants to go back to acrylics. Who knows? I don't know. Or maybe I end up like Nosferatu and Mo and I'm like, I don't understand this. It's not working. Just give me my acrylics back. We'll see. Hey, Bill Robertson. He says you don't need to learn airbrushing, but it's a really handy tool to have in your arsenal. Yeah, yeah. It's another tool in the toolbox, just like Mo says. Always good to have lots of tools in the toolbox.
True enough.
True that.
Howdy, Hail Boop.
Oh, Congo with the late arrival.
I'm gonna get the rest of the white on this, so I'm not gonna switch over to media section until I get all the white on this.
That's cool.
Oh, that's fine. We can start talking about stuff whenever.
Yeah,
That's true. We
I'm
could
just not
start
gonna
talking
switch this
about
scene.
movies right now.
I
3
mean, we
minutes?
may have already started talking about movies, huh?
I think we have.
So just pretend I hit the media section button. We got to write the new screen. I'm gonna.
Oh, hi, Ryu. How are you still awake, you crazy person?
All right. Will Kathy anything else for media section to talk about, or just what you already spoiled in the episode?
Probably, probably, but you go ahead and talk because I don't really remember right off the top of my head.
Okay, well I'll save the other stuff that's more can
Oh
be
my
more
gosh, I
quick.
see, and just as I said that, I just remembered, but go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, on Saturday I watched Cabin in the Woods for, I mean, I've seen that a bunch of times. But then after that, we followed it up with my very first viewing of Hellraiser.
Oh,
Man,
Hellraiser.
Yeah, hilarious. Especially after watching Cabin in the Woods.
Fair.
I
Fair.
really wanted to watch Evil Dead 2, but my friend didn't have that, so, you know.
You can only watch what's on tap, unfortunately. So, what did you think of Hellraiser?
I liked it. It was fun. It was hilarious to me. Like I have a friend who was asking me, so, did you hide under the covers or hide your eyes, at the I don't know, whatever. I don't know what scenes I would have hid my eyes from because I was too busy, observing the gore to see how realistic it looked.
Oh,
Uh,
90s,
oh yeah.
so I mean that's how I'm watching it.
maybe even late 80s.
It was 1987.
See, late 80s.
I remember when that originally came out, and people were like freaking out. That it was like, oh my god, this is the scariest, creepiest horror movie in the world.
and
Well,
and so I have to watch the second one. But who knows? Maybe I don't know if I watch the ones after it. We'll see. But yeah, the second one I want to follow up. But it was yeah, it was to me. I mean, now it was cheesy. It was fun. Uh, it was predictable. Uh, but I like that whole interdimensional, the cube opens portals and stuff. That's what I said, Bill Robertson. He says the Cenobites are Slaneshi for sure. That is exactly what I said.
Yeah.
absolutely.
It was all about the pleasure and pain and the senses and, you know, yeah.
Well,
All
cool.
right.
So when Gonzo was still going, I finally got to see 21 Bridges.
Oh man, I still have that on my queue.
Oh, guess you should have watched it.
Yeah.
Um, it's probably going to end up being, if not the last, one of the last Chadwick Boseman movies, unfortunately, since he passed. But it was very enjoyable. I was actually, I don't want to say I was expecting more. It's about what I was expecting. It is mostly investigation and cop intrigue and then mystery and then some action on top of that. And I will say I was not necessarily expecting the end of it to be what it was. And I'm not going to spoil it since Gonzo hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah. Please.
But the whole concept is that Chadwick Boseman's character is known for shooting people. Though the number they say is not super huge. Apparently, he's been with the force for 9 years and he's shot eight people, but they've all been cleared by internal affairs. So sort of setting up that whole, he's sort of like the police avenger. He's got which honestly in today's environment, this whole concept changes. But in any case, he's got that sort of reputation of being sort of like the avenger. He goes after the bad guys, and they often don't make it to trial. And in I don't want to say botched trial, but in a robbery, in a crime, 7 cops get killed, and they bring him in to go find the suspects. And that's the whole thing. They're cutting down. They shut down every way out of Manhattan, all the bridges and everything. That's why it's called 21 Bridges. And then they go find him, and there's more to it. Of course, there's always more to it. There's stuff going on in the background, and a little bit of mystery. Not too much. You sort of see where it's going. I would not call it like the best, but it's very enjoyable. I mean, it's got a great cast. I mean, Chadwick Boseman, J.K. Simmons is in it for a bit. People who you're not really know for doing good jobs. Taylor Kitsch is in it, and he does a great job in the role he's given. He's not had a lot of luck, let's say. And then Keith David and a bunch of people in just small roles. It's very enjoyable. I definitely suggest it. I'm going to give it. I was pretty riveted to the whole thing, even with some of the things not being surprises to me at all. But I'm going to give it. I'll give it 1 space herpy. It was very enjoyable. The biggest thing I say is it doesn't overstay its welcome. A movie like this, like to put twists and turns in, it's only about an hour and 40 long, so it doesn't put that extra twist that would be a twist too far in. Wraps up the story nicely at the end, and yeah, very enjoyable.
Cool.
Gonzo, you should watch it.
Yeah, I've got it on my queue. I've got it set and it's recorded. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, actually, it was on sale during Prime Days, so I bought it. I mean, it's worth owning on Blu-ray.
Sweet. I finished the entire episodes of Evil, which is on Netflix, which, by the way, did get renewed for a 2nd season, so I'm happy about that. Everybody know Evil, if you haven't heard me talk about Evil, is a show about a priest, a forensic psychiatrist or whatever, and like a tech guy, and they research if things are actually supernatural or not, and it has to do with serial killers and everything.
Almost sounds like a punchline rather than a freaking
yeah.
Some of you heard this before. A priest.
It does. I was thinking it. Yeah.
It actually was pretty good. There's some parts in there you're like, oh shit, and then you're like, okay, and there are some parts that you're like, is this supernatural or not? And we don't know yet because of what's going on in the big conspiracy that is going in with the main story.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know yet. There are the characters are good. They all work together. You can tell they have good chemistry. Those 3 work off each other really well. But I'm giving it like half a space herpy to 0. Because there's a little thing you're just like, oh, okay, this is a VR episode. You can't do that in VR, but you gotta just kind of shut your brain off on it, type thing. It just kind of little twinge things, but nothing bad. But overall, I mean, I really liked it. If you like serial killer stuff, you like supernatural stuff, and you like thrillers, this is go for it. It got renewed for another season, so we'll get to see season two. It's on Netflix, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. Go check it out. Kathy, what else you got? Anything?
Well, I mentioned Cabin in the Woods, but I've probably talked about that one before. I'm sure I have because I see it every year. I,
I feel
I
bad because
watch
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm not exactly a horror guy, so it's on my
Yeah.
list.
but it's so much more. It's so much more.
I mean, it's
It's
meta horror.
it is. It really is. It's the timing that they have, separating the scenes from of the horror part of it from the scenes of the other parts of it. It's flawless. It's 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 the kind of movie that if you don't care for horror, you might. Well, you've seen other horror movies, right?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I,
So you would appreciate it because it's like filled with tropes, and it's meant to be filled with tropes,
yeah, yeah.
and
It's
that's
very
what.
meta, from what I understand.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself seriously at all. I didn't know what to expect when I saw it in the theater. Uh, but as soon as the credits at the beginning started playing, I had a smile on my face. I was like, this is like just the little artworks in the credits at the beginning were like I was like, this is going to be a bit Lovecraftian. There's something that's going to go on that's deeper here about this. And I was not mistaken. And it just and I like shows that don't take themselves too seriously. That's why I was such a big fan of Evil Dead 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2, which is, in my opinion, very superior to Evil Dead 1.
Yes.
Yes, Evil Dead 1 is just straight up a horror movie, zombie slasher flick. But, 2 just, yeah, 2 is the best. I know there's people that love Army of Darkness and everything, and I like Army of Darkness too, but I still feel like 2 is a classic. It's a classic.
You should probably watch the TV show. The TV show was pretty good.
Oh yeah, Ash versus the Evil Dead. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have not seen that yet.
Yeah. It's pretty decent. It's just like Army of Darkness in episode form.
So it's funny. Um, Joss Whedon was one of the writers on Cabin in the Woods, and it got me thinking. He ain't done much of shit in years, and I don't know why. Like, all he did was the rewrite and reshoots for Justice League. More
Yeah.
on that in a moment. And I don't know why he's done much shit. He's done like one TV episode since then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why. It's not like what you like people upset because Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron was fucking great. Like, it wasn't as good as Avengers. Well, no shit. Few things in the world are as good as Avengers. It's just in. Oh, weird. I might have looked into that more.
Good night,
But
Angry Ham. Sleep well.
I angry him.
Oh, it made me yawn.
So,
Just thinking about the pillow.
more on that is I'm seeing all these news articles about Zack Snyder's Justice League, as they're calling it,
Yeah.
and they want the Snyder cut. They're not getting the Snyder cut. They're getting a post-op Zack Snyder adding elements that he would have added in, and maybe he would have. We'll never know. It might be the George Lucas. Of course, it was supposed to be 9 movies. It was always supposed to be 9 movies. It might be that revisionist stuff, but it's like, oh, they're gonna bring back Ben Affleck for Ben Affleck for some stuff, other stuff. Bring back Jared Leto's Joker, Margot Robbie for Harley Quinn. I'm like, so I watched a Justice League movie. Ain't none of those fuckers need to be in that movie at all. Like, I was going to watch it anyways because, I mean, I have to compare it, but it's not going to be a Zack Snyder cut. It's me, Zack Snyder, adding extra shit to a movie that was, like I said at the time, it wasn't a touchdown, but it was a field goal. You got some points on the board. Good job. After the shit you'd put out prior, I mean, what else do you expect? So that's interesting to hear. You guys else talk about Gonzo? Because I got more news to talk about.
I did want to talk about that. They said that Michael Keaton was coming back to play Batman in the Batman Beyond HBO Max
Which would be
TV
interesting.
series.
That he is the perfect role for that.
Correct.
Perfect casting.
I saw that. I think it was yesterday or today, and I thought that was a pretty cool little thing. I was like, one, Batman Beyond on HBO Max. Fuck yeah. Two,
Yeah.
Michael Keaton coming back and being Batman, being old Bruce Wayne. Yeah, I'm all for that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's though funny also he named himself Best Batman,
Yeah,
which, I mean,
it's
do we
one.
really have a Best Batman? I don't think. Well, I do think of when I think of Batman, I do think of one actor in particular. Spoiler: it's Adam West. But I mean, there hasn't been a Best Batman. That's sort of the problem for it. That's the problem we're getting into. No one has really gotten every aspect. You get, Michael Keaton, who's a great Batman, not the best Bruce Wayne. You go to Val Kilmer, who's a great Bruce Wayne, not the best Batman. Then George Clooney comes in, and his movie's so terrible, he just takes the blame for it. No one judges whether he was a good Batman or Bruce Wayne. I thought he had the best middle ground of the two of them. And then you get Christian Bale, and he was solid in both roles, but that got pretty far afield from standard Batman pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then you get Ben Affleck, who had about 12 seconds to be Batman, basically, and not in good movies.
No.
But he's also playing old Batman. So really, what is, you'd have to do a long-standing series of classic Batman for us to say someone is the best Batman. They're all going for a different sort of subgenres. That's sort of the thing. In any case, proceed. Well, rants aside.
Oh no, it's like saying who's the best Bond. I mean, we all know it's Sean Connery.
Try a hard one.
But still, you know what I mean?
No. Who's
Besides
the second
him,
best Bond?
Yeah, who's the second best? Well, there are aspects that each one focuses on. No, Sean Connery, yeah.
No, I mean second best. I was going to Timothy Dalton. I'll give Daniel Craig a solid third, Pierce Brosnan a solid fourth. I don't really care after that.
I don't know. Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore kind of tie for me.
Fair.
George Lazenby was good.
He was, but he didn't have enough time to really.
Yeah, but he was
cement
good.
Himself.
His one James Bond was good.
And I think Roger Moore gets a bad rap because going back watching him now, they are so out there.
Yeah. Well, and they had him doing it way longer than he really should have. Like a couple movies longer than he really should have, and he was getting older, and they should have really gotten somebody else.
And it really became almost a parody of itself during his days too, which was a problem. That's why Timothy Dalton I like so much, because they became much more interesting suddenly. You're like, oh shit, James Bond, serious business.
Yeah.
And sure, he's throwing some one-liners out, but it's not like all one-liners. It's some hardcore, cold-blooded one-liners.
That's some good observations there, John.
Almost like I'm an amateur movie reviewer.
I did watch it just came on Netflix, called Over the Moon. It's a cartoon about a. It's about a girl that gets told a story about a lady that goes to the moon and lives there, and like her love of her life dies, and I'm sure it's based off of an actual Japanese story, and it's got the old school Disney feel with songs all the way through it. Now it is, I think it's done by, that's a Netflix film. I thought I was thinking it was done, but I mean, it's got songs all the way through it. The songs aren't bad either. Usually when they do them nowadays, you're just like cringeworthy. You're like, can we just get it past? And the characters are good. It deals with life and death as a kid, and also moving on like a parent remarrying. And so it was very well animated, very brilliant, bright colors, which I really liked. Um, Story was pretty good too. Overall, it was a really solid cartoon. Um, don't want to spoil it because it just came out. Um, but it was pretty neat. I liked it a lot. I liked the art style. I liked the story. I liked that it dealt with things that were relevant. Um, Mother passes away and the father remarries, and the new wife has a son, and so a blended family type thing and such, and it deals with life and death and accepting certain things. But I mean, it was pretty solid, and like I said, it's the songs were actually pretty decent for a non-Disney movie. Um, and they were in the appropriate area of the show. So I gave it probably maybe one. Just for some of the things, there was a little slow parts here and there and a little predictability, but it would be an amazing. Kids will love it. As an adult, you're like, yeah, this is pretty good. You're like, okay, yeah, I got this. I see where this is going. I see where this is going. But kids will definitely enjoy this. So if you have any, preteen or teenagers and younger type thing, they'll enjoy the movie quite well. So I recommend it. Go watch it. It's only like an hour and 45 minutes. So I mean, it's not a bad thing to watch. I'm not gonna take up your whole time.
Awesome. Kathy, you got anything else?
Nope.
I have one more before you get started, though, John. And it's gonna be quick. I finished up. Um, what was it? Lovecraft Country. The season finale was just recently, and I don't know if they're gonna have another season of it. If they do, great. But if they don't, I feel okay with it because the story kind of finished, um, and it gave an ending. But there's still more that they can do. You can tell that they can go off and do some more stuff, which would be cool if they did, because there were some really cool new characters that spawned because of the show. This show did go quite off the deep end on a couple of things, but like really, Lovecraft type stuff and like space travel and extra dimensions, and it went crazy on some episodes. But I really liked it. Really good show. Very entertaining. If you got HBO, go watch it. I enjoyed it. If they have another season, great. If they don't, I'm okay with it. Because it ended a story, but didn't leave it on such a cliffhanger that it was um, that you couldn't finish it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like such a you're like, oh, what's going to happen? Okay, don't know what's going to happen to that character, but I'm okay with the way I left it. So yeah, the season is completed, Mizzy, so you can go watch it all the way through now. So, all right, sorry, John. I just wanted to give that one. Thumbs
No,
up,
no.
zero space herpes.
Thumbs up, zero, zero. Very good. Even with it going off the deep end.
Yes, yeah. There was something you're like, the fuck, because it had to do with time traveling and dimension hopping, and you're just like, the fuck? Okay, yeah, let's go for it. It's Lovecraft. It's a Cthulhu thing. You don't know what the fuck's gonna go on with that one.
Cool. So the other ones I'll talk about is there was some other news dropped in this media thing that's important. Uh, they announced that Disney Plus is doing a sequel to Willow that I hear is a series. Is that right, Kathy?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm very interested in that, and I've said this in other places. I wonder if they're going to base it off the sequel novels that were written by George Lucas and Chris Claremont of X-Men fame, because they were interesting, though I'm not sure that people will be ready for that. Like,
See, I had never heard of the books, and a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, they have this series of books," and he was wondering the same thing. Were they gonna do it from that, or is it gonna be totally fresh? And
yeah,
yeah,
I
who
think
knows?
everyone should be happy, should understand so that they can be happy when they watch it that you will probably not see Mad Mardigan, We'll probably not see Shorsha, the Queen's daughter, or the evil Queen's daughter. It'll probably be Warwick Davis and then a grown-up Laura Dannon doing things. So that
Maybe
doesn't give
there
me
will be
so.
brownies. I imagine there will probably be brownies, even
Oh,
if
yeah.
it's not the same two brownies.
So as
Oh,
funny as
yeah.
it is, the Brownies and Willow Ufgood and Laura Dannon are all in the sequel books too. So we'll see where that goes. Right now, nothing to tell, but I am going to follow it and interesting because Willow is one of those fantasy series that I like. And after our discussion last week, Gonzo,
Mm-hmm.
about fantasy, whenever you see another great fantasy series, there, maybe we'll start getting one now.
Daikini, yes, Banyan.
And
Yeah.
then
I see. I didn't even know that there was actual a series written after it. So that at least they have some. It's not like they're just doing a sequel to do a sequel. They have actually source material to go off of.
they do. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if they're going to use it. If they do, they'll probably change it a bit. Chris Claremont has a certain style
Yeah.
that may not lend itself to TV, as is evident, or movies, as is evidenced by the fact that everyone keeps trying to do his arcs for X-Men, and that never fucking works. Dark Phoenix saga, that was him. Dad hasn't worked on movies yet, and they tried a couple different times.
Yep.
And then the other one is I saw some news that they're making a Mask movie, and if you don't, I don't mean Jim Carrey the Mask. I mean Mobile Armored Strike Command, i.e. the
Oh my
20
God!
series
Really?
in the 80s
Huh.
that I fucking loved.
Oh yeah.
And they have an actor theoretically signed on to be Matt Tracker, who is the leader of Mask. I don't know why
That
Mobile Strike
Tracker.
Man with a K, but hey.
I mean, he just sounds like an action figure.
Yep. 2Ks in Tracker too. No C. 2K. It was the 80s. What do you want? And if you're not familiar with Mask, it's all about vehicles that look normal and then they transform and they're not normal. Yes, Mask was a cartoon at one point. It does not hold up so well, but it's okay.
Find
It is
it
better
on
than
YouTube.
some, worse than others. I watched the first episode recently, within the last year or so. Did not hold up as well. And the person they got was Ryan Reynolds.
What?
So I'm interested because Ryan Reynolds is awesome. I'd like to see him get another chance to do something actiony without him having to be quirky humor guy. I don't want him to get typecast because he's getting typecast.
Thank you for the follow, Ekibat.
I mean, heck, look at the trailer for Free Guy. I'm sure you've seen the trailers. If you haven't, you should see the trailer for Free Guy.
Yep.
Because I'm still going to see it. He's kind of getting typecast as a certain type, and I don't want that. Like was it Six Underground? What was that movie? Gonzo
Six Underground. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a little typecast in that too. When I think it'd been better if he wasn't so snarky, funny, and was more serious.
So you don't want him to be Deadpool in every role that he plays?
Correct. You shouldn't have to. Have you guys seen Smoking Aces?
No. Yep.
He's serious in that, and I thought he was very good in that. So we'll see. Like I said, I do love Mask, and I'm interested to see that. And I like how it seems like they're taking stuff a little slower and not just throwing out. Theoretically, Hasbro is trying to make a big combined universe, but with the rise and fall of Universal's Dark Universe, that may or may not happen anymore. By rise and fall, meaning they put out one movie, it did really shitty in the theater, probably because it wasn't a good movie anyways, and immediately got the whole thing canceled. We'll see.
Like Nosferatu.
Because if that means they do a whole series, means you'll have G.I. Joe and Mask and Transformers and all in the same universe, which is fine. They'd all fit. I mean, honestly, as funny as it is, they've actually made figures for a couple Mask people in G.I. Joe. So, we will see. That's all I got.
I did want to say that I am still watching Hellstrom. It is a dark Marvel movie, or TV show, I should say, not movie. And it's on Hulu. It's a Hulu original one. And I don't see them making a second series of this already.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't.
I,
And I know who Hellstrom is. David
yeah.
Hellstrom is son of Satan, and I don't think that's really going to go over that well.
It's kind of slow, and the characters are okay. There's nothing wrong with them. It just slow. It's just very slow paced, and it's not a lot happens. So you're just kind of wondering. You're like, okay, oh yeah, they're doing something. Oh, cool. I'll watch here. Um, but I mean, I do not see that it's going to go anywhere. I'd be surprised if it got a second season. So, um, it's cool. It's neat. Special effects are okay. Creepiness is okay. It's just you can tell that they're kind of phoning it in type thing.
It seems like they're trying to. I mean, they're like a year and a half too late on the whole occult sort of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't see it going. I'm gonna watch the last ones. I think I only got like 2 more episodes left, but I'll still watch it to see.
I was saying, based on some of that shit you've watched all the way through the end, you might as well.
Yeah. So I mean, and they're actually pretty long episodes. They're hour-long episodes, but like I says, it doesn't meld and mesh really well right now. There's just something about it. You're just like, okay, they're doing something now. Okay, and now they're doing something, and you're just waiting for something to happen, and when it does happen, it's not great. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's super cool, because you're looking for the supernatural. You're looking for the superpowers, the stuff like that, and it just doesn't get there. So
Tastes like something from the 1970s.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's missing the mark for the Marvel stuff, because all the Marvel stuff, it does good storytelling with the action. Yeah. That's what keeps people interested. I actually had someone, one of my unit guys, we were talking about movies, and he says his favorite Marvel movie is Iron Man. I'm like, well, that's cool. I don't even think that's the best origin movie in Marvel. And I told him Captain America better. He's like, I can see that. And I told him Captain Marvel. He's like, that movie was boring. I'm like, that was boring. You got a problem. I thought it was a very good and interesting movie all the way through. But in any case.
Well, guys, that was we're gonna call that our episode. We're gonna get out of here. Yeah, that was our podcast. I will continue to work on that model. Kathy and I will definitely she'll be going through and telling Gonzo no and slap me around a bit, and then I'll get back on track and do stuff. But I'm going to continue working on that next episode.
You remote squirt bottle, Kathy, so you can be like, bad Gonzo, no.
Work up a buzzer system.
Awesome.
Set up a super soaker.
Now, but I would just be firing that off at random.
Yeah, I know. And then one time you'd be just sitting there just playing the button because you're fidgeting, and I'm like over here soaked beyond belief because you started fidgeting with the button. You're like, oh shit. So, guys, please take care of each other. Please watch out for each other. Please be safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Keep your distance. Don't need anybody else getting COVID. For More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John.
I'm Kathy.
Good night, people.
Good night.
Of course, we don't have music on this one either.
I mean, we have music, but we're not hearing music.
Should we sing them out? What should we sing?
There isn't any. They probably can hear it. We can.
I mean, we can do this song that never ends.
This is a song
that never ends.